Well, y'all, this is another edition of Pass the Rock with your girl MackTruck and your boy EB. EB, how you doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal. How about yourself?
You know what? It's been an interesting Tuesday. Not terrible, but just weird. But I'm
All right.
cool. I'm here. I'm still 6 feet above ground. I can't complain. Um, it is what it is. Especially this long weekend of NFL football that we get to recap, and
Yeah,
it's
we do.
really quite a stop. Don't do that. It's really quite unfortunate, but welcome again to Pass the Rock with EB and Mac Truck. Make sure you're following both of our podcasts, The Three Man Weave, period, okay, with EB, CB, and Big D Money. And obviously the Mac Truck podcast, just me, the Mac Truck. You can follow us all on YouTube, Spotify, and really anywhere else you get your audio and video streaming pleasure. So we're going to hop right into it. The NFL. That is Pass the Rock in terms of our watch list. And
Before we get to the watch
unfortunately,
list, because I know there's some hurtful things in there. We'll get to that. But let's address the Tua situation.
facts.
You know what I mean? So, as everybody knows, Tua went out with another concussion last Thursday night against the Bills. Um, Mike Garofalo from NFL Network reported in order to give him ample time to progress through these stages of the concussion protocol and meet with outside neurologists, he's been placed on IR. That means the earliest he can return is week 8 against the Cardinals. Garofalo also noted that the Dolphins are committed to placing no timeline on him as he works through the deliberate process and eventual return to play. I'm not one of the people that think he should retire, do all of that because he got hit. You hear older players from like when we came up talk about how they got concussions damn near every week and continued the game, let alone to play next week. So I'm not going to go that extreme with it, but I will say that the hit that got him, not just everyday regular real hit, really the way that put him out is the thing to be concerned about. I think is the severity of the hit. I think it's a lot lighter than a lot of the hits you see. A lot of the hits that he took, um, but just the way he went down, the way that took him out, I think that's the thing to be more concerned about. Is if he can go out on a play like that, those light hits might get him a couple more times, and that could be where it's there's more concern and him need to think about hanging him up. What do you think?
And yeah, and I have to agree with you in terms of okay, let's maybe not jump so far ahead to be like, oh, he needs to retire. First of all, I have a bone to pick with everybody. Stop telling this man what to do. He's a fully grown adult, so he can make his own decisions. Now, on the flip
Except for that
side,
phone call.
yeah, listen, stop. Okay. On the flip side, in terms of the hit, he didn't need to barrel his shoulder into Damar Hamlin. Like literally did not. And I almost wonder if he just was making an attempt to dive forward and just didn't see Damar, which is I mean, it happens. Like, okay, I'm running, I'm a quarter, especially as a quarterback, but I feel like especially as a quarterback, I should know when to be like, I don't know, keep my head up and slide. But what's good for Goose ain't good for games. I'm telling you that right now. Listen, I mean, I love Tua, and I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him out. I don't want to see him hurt. But I also like folks got to stop being out here talking about he needs to retire.
He
No,
needs to slide every time he runs, though. I don't know why he was going head first.
yeah, and that's what's blowing me. And I'm like, was he trying to make a point? Was he
I think
like
it was
what
well,
the math wasn't mathing?
right. It didn't. But yeah, out till week 8, man. That's going to be a big blow for the Dolphins. We'll see what they do at quarterback. We saw a trend last year with a lot of backups playing, and it's already kind of the case with quite a few teams this year going to backups. You look at the the Carolina Panthers situation; they got the Red Rocket back behind.
Pause. Pause. I knew you were gonna go there. I was trying to wait, but to circle back as far as the backup quarterback situation for the Miami Dolphins right now is Skylar Thompson. He's second or third year out of Northwestern. Um, Real decent quarterback, not super mobile, but I also think that's partly because he's been sitting behind Tua and behind um, I got CTE, so I can't listen. I can't remember nothing right now. But he's been sitting behind a bunch of people as far as quarterback wise and getting his play. So and unfortunately, him getting his shine and chance to run the offense as the first string quarterback had to come at Tua's expense due to this head injury. But we're gonna circle back to the Carolina Panthers.
Fair. People calling for Tom Brady to suit up for the Dolphins need to knock it off. I've seen that way too many times.
Like, why are we?
We don't need to go there anymore.
Like, for why? Like,
there's so many other quarterbacks.
I mean, like Ryan Fitzpatrick is still available. I don't care if he's in the broadcasting booth. He's still available. Ryan Tannehill also still available. Colin Kaepernick also still available. Yeah, I went there. Controversy here. Cam Newton literally still available.
I like Cap though.
Teddy Two Gloves. I don't know. I don't know if we want to bring Teddy Two Gloves back because he got his.
Teddy's not doing it no more. He's done.
Is he done?
Yeah,
okay.
Teddy's done.
Yeah, no, we gotta keep them legs together, bruh. He out here coaching high school football, and them mugs is running NFL plays. I'm sitting here like, every single one of them mugs is gonna be scary coming out that school system.
I thought Teddy Two Gloves was gonna have a hell of a career too in Minnesota, but he went down with quite a few unfortunate injuries.
Yeah,
so
really,
he's living his best life.
It's really unfortunate.
I was excited when the Broncos got him for a minute. I was like, okay, we could turn this around. We could do something here. He was part of the post Peyton Manning era.
Fair. That's fair. But I'll say this, though, and not for nothing, some of these other quarterbacks that other teams have let go, like Shea Patterson, Sean Clifford, all still viable quarterbacks, all been let go from their previous teams or were waived off the teams that they had been drafted to. But there's still plenty of quarterback talent in the pool that is, for the most part, readily available. I mean, I know there's this cool guy named Nate Stanley who went to Iowa who would probably be great in the as far as like the Dolphins offense is concerned, but obviously that's a little bit of a stretch, depending on cap space, 10-day contracts, all that stuff. So,
where's Flacco?
At home. Or the Browns? I can't remember.
No, he's not in Cleveland, but he's a backup somewhere. But all the weapons they got in Miami, like kind of ready-made. The defense is all right too. This last week,
right? I mean, you have the highest paid DB now on your your roster.
Right.
So
you plug a quarterback in for that offense with the weapons in the backfield on the outside. They got a decent tight end as well. Like you could throw a Flacco in there, and he could be all right.
That's a fact. And I feel like the NFL is just a little bit more balanced with a good Joe Flacco stint somewhere. I don't even care where it is. I feel like the NFL isn't complete without Joe Flacco somewhere.
I'd have been ringing the alarm for Colt McCoy if he hadn't just retired, just because I like my Longhorns,
Well, hook 'em.
Even in the studio, I don't care.
And you know who else I would call if you know who else I would even consider if they weren't hell, maybe even the fact that they are still announcing, I'll call him Brady Quinn. Honestly, because he's still big enough and he's still talented enough to throw the ball.
Throw Tim Tebow out there then.
Tim Tebow back in Florida as an NFL quarterback.
Back with all of those weapons, he don't have to do too much, just dink and dunk. That's kind of how Miami plays anyway.
And he's
they
a lefty.
Plays on there. Yeah,
and he's a lefty, so they'll already expect it. Ooh.
He could move. I don't know.
Poll question. Ooh, poll questions. Come on, poll questions. Come on, E-Money. Listen, see, this is what you get with Pass the Rock.
Yeah.
Because we literally just talk on all things football. It's ideas or just players that come to our mind. This is what happens when you talk football with MackTruck and E-Money here on Pass the Rock. And to stick with the really unfortunate slate of injuries, Christian McCaffrey is still out. also been placed on IR now as of yesterday or today, per Adam Schefter and the 49ers newsroom. Achilles tendonitis.
Ooh.
That's bad. Like, it's Achilles tendonitis is essentially the upgrade to having plantar fasciitis, and that's bad.
I can't imagine the tendonitis of it all, but from what I heard, it like just constantly feels like it's gonna pop. Now I can't speak to the tendonitis, but I have torn an Achilles, and to constantly have that feeling like you're on the brink of tearing that thing is like you're gonna need some rest. That's really
No
all you
bueno.
do. It's not the best, but hopefully McCaffrey can rest, which is really the most you can do for it. Let the inflammation go down, see how he feels in a couple of weeks. But they're not going to rush him either, especially with Jordan Mason doing this thing.
Listen, we're gonna get to Jay Mason when we hit that fantasy recap. Cause listen, if y'all got fantasy out there, and it's probably too late to pick him up now, but I'll tell you, I got him on 4 of my fantasy cords. I'm gonna say that. Listen,
Can I just say that I'm really happy that you're excited to talk running backs when we get to fantasy football. I'm just happy that you're excited about that.
I am, but I'm not excited about the fact that like my team just completely, just really didn't do their job.
We'll get there. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. What about Debo? What you got on Debo?
I can't stand you. This is why we do this, because like we just so perfect that each other. As far as Debo is also now out for the San Francisco 49ers. And I do believe it was a hamstring, if I remember correctly. I don't have, again, my full slate of notes, but it's either a hamstring or an ankle. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he is out.
They're just gonna keep plugging players in over there when they go down. They have receivers like that. Like, are they gonna find another Jordan Mason?
I mean, and this is gonna sound, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, and I'm not meaning it in any disrespectful way. But unfortunately, with the way the 49ers run their offense, technically their Jordan Mason would be the man that they just paid in Brandon Ayuk.
You do still have Brandon Ayuk, right? Like,
You also have George Kittle. Y'all forget
team.
that you have George Kittle. Y'all have not thrown to him very much. You're gonna have to start doing it now.
He had a decent game this past week though. He had like 7 catches, 76 yards, cut a touchdown. Kittle was involved this week.
Yeah, he had himself a tutty, just under 80 yards, just like you said, and he was just all over the place per normal. But it just seems like, and maybe just because it's the first couple weeks of season, he's just not getting the targets and looks that we all are used to seeing him get. So
tight ends are. I thought there'd be a lot of tight ends getting looks, like even like Goddard, Laporta, and Detroit. You're not seeing a lot of tight end production so far this season, except for
and it's
in Vegas.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah, good pickup.
Goon. Just
you feel better?
Scary.
You're the 49ers or the Rams, because Cooper Kupp just went down too.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp is also out with an ankle injury. Re-aggravated that ankle last season. But I don't believe it was the ankle he had surgery on. I think it's the opposite foot. Either way, he's also out for about 4 to 5 weeks. There wasn't a definitive if he was being placed on IR, but his cohort and partner in Puka Nacua is also on IR for the LA Rams 5 to 7 weeks for actually re-aggravating a knee injury that put him out for several weeks last year. It's this turf, man. I'm gonna tell you this. It's the turf, because anybody that's played football up until this point on grass, I'm getting a couple grass burns. Okay, I might get some bumps and bruises. Shoot, I might even break a finger or two. But nothing is close to this wild stuff.
All these soft tissue injuries and joints.
And the soft tissue injuries be so bad. Like, they'd be the worst.
Real.
Sports.
Right. Should we get into our watch list recap?
Yeah, the watch list recap.
Would you like me to start with
Yes,
Jordan?
I would like you to start this.
All right,
No, you can start. You have the honor.
let's start with Monday Night Football. Eagles go down to the Falcons 22-21 after Kirk Cousins has a masterful 2-minute drill.
Out of
Saquon
nowhere, mind
drops
you.
pass on third down to that would have put the game away. Essentially, they could have ran the clock out after that if he would have got that first. Philly was just giving up chunk plays in that 2-minute drill too. And especially Darius Slay getting burnt. There's a lot of uncharacteristic things from Philly.
I'm glad you said it. Uncharacteristic things from Philadelphia. Well, really, a lot of teams this past week. Well, we're sticking with Philly right now, so we don't talk about Philly. Saquon very rarely drops the ball or misses a pass. Listen, I was shocked. In fact, I think he was shocked that he dropped the pass. And we all listen to our favorite sports podcaster shows, commentators, whatever it is. And everything that I heard today on the shows and streams that I listen to and follow was that it was just very uncharacteristic of Saquon and, how it could have won them the game. It just was like a never ending carousel of the same damn thing. And I'm like, how many times are you all gonna beat this man down? You don't think that he already is like, yeah, like, you don't think he's salty?
To your point, he owned up to it and took the blame for the loss. Like that was all on him. But again, in Saquon fashion, he was still over 120 yards from scrimmage. Got in the end zone one time, I think, or maybe he didn't score, but still over 120. And you know what I was wondering about Philly though is I thought we'd see more Jahan Dotson with AJ Brown out. Like that's a perfect receiver to slot in when you got one of your top guys missing. And they got him from the Commanders. But he was one catch for 6 yards. It wasn't really that involved at all. But next up for the Eagles is the New Orleans Saints, who we'll also talk about a little later. But the Saints are the favorite right now, 3-point favorite.
Which is, and I'm really, unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me after the way they handled a certain team that we're going to talk about here in a minute. The unfortunate Dallas Cowboys. Go Cowboys. I'm about to roast y'all in a minute, but I'm trying to be nice. Fact of the matter is, New Orleans, currently right now as it stands, complete team. Yeah. Absolute team. Complete all the way around. And it's scary because I don't think you would have asked us when we started our segments and the pods for the calendar year as far as football is concerned. You'd have asked any one of us or anybody that's involved in sports, oh, the Saints gonna pop off and be 2-0 at the top of the season. Every one of us would be like, no, they'll split or go 0-2. Like, and handing Dallas the loss that they did, like I said, and we're gonna get to that in a second. And now you're going to Lincoln there. I think they're going to Lincoln Financial Field to play the Eagles.
No,
it's in New Orleans. Oh, so they gotta come to Mardi Gras town.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why they favored. But even if they weren't, if it were in Philly, I still feel like they'd be favored by more.
Maybe. Not looking great right now. I mean, it's 2 games into the season, so the Eagles will figure it out. But not looking good. Kirk Cousins looked way better than he did in week 1, though.
Listen, Mister, you like that, okay? This man, anybody that watched that game, Kirk Cousins looked abysmal. It is what it is. But I'll say this, though, off the rip, is for looking as abysmal as he did week 1, and even really a good 3 quarters of the game last night, for being 11 months post-op, maybe even less, off of tearing an Achilles, just like Aaron Rodgers, who's also in a very similar situation, Kirk Cousins did the damn thing. And I was sitting there and telling people, because I was, Babe and I went up to the spot, and I was like, Kirk Cousins is about to 2-minute the shit out of this drill. Like, I'll tell you this right now. I said, before he got hurt, he had some wild record of like the most wins during Monday Night Football or some like crazy stat. And it was like he's almost never watched Monday Night Football up until he got hurt. Right. And then his first Monday night of the season comes around, and you're just going to dink and dime out here like you Joe Montana. and handily. Like, they had no answer for the dink and dump. And I'm like, he is not just picking and popping. Just, okay, sideline. Okay, sideline. Big one over the middle. Okay, sideline. Spike the ball.
In that move, Drake London hit Darius Slaywood in the end zone. He just walked that in.
He was out here, and it was hard to. I said, no, he didn't. I said, he did, but go off, Drake London. Come on. Like, pay that man. Sorry, had to. NFL version, pay that man. Drake London, come get this money, sir. Listen.
All right, let's get to one of your teams. Who you want to start with?
Really, unfortunately, we all know who I'm starting with, and just because I'm sighing because over, but I really would like to run my head into a wall. They just, well, I don't know. They look like the Iowa Hawkeyes on Sunday. Like, what? Listen, 44-19. You lose. First of all, that's been one of the biggest losses in a Dallas Cowboys home opener. I'm not going to say ever because I know there's been a couple more, but in the modern era, baby, you look like poop. Like, you look Sherman soft, okay? Listen, Dak went 27 for 39, 293 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. First of all, the 2 picks alone is out of sync for Dak. Then I have CeeDee Lamb, the other person that we just paid. Okay, now mind you, CeeDee Lamb can't catch the ball and make yards if Dak don't get it to him. But as a receiver, just like we talked about in week 1 with Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers, if you're an elite receiver or you're considered an elite receiver, number 1, whatever, get yourself open. Mm-hmm. Like, get find a way to make that space to get for your quarterback to get you the ball. Either way, CeeDee goes 4 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. And then this is what really drives me nuts. Okay, we bring Ezekiel Elliott back. And you're just enjoying this. I know it. Like, this has been building up, okay? And I'm surprised that I'm just so calm for me. And just, it's fine. You bring Ezekiel Elliott back, okay? You give him an incentive package. Patriots are still paying him. Okay, great, wonderful. Got my running back. Then you add in even, and seemingly enough, paper-wise, a better running back in Dalvin Cook, who seemingly enough is still in the practice squad, kind of agitated, but yards. Why is he on my stat list? I'm sorry. Love him. Do. But you're not my running back. So Ezekiel Elliott, okay? Dalvin Cook, I need y'all to fix it, Jesus, okay? I need y'all to do better. That's my NFL do better. Both of y'all, hell. And the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm glad you brought up the run because that's actually what we talked about the other day on the Weave. We talked about how Dallas just could not get it going on the run. And a lot of that may be because, you're playing from behind. You're not going to be on the ground a lot. But when we're talking about the run game, Alv him Kamara. Get there.
Yeah. Listen.
180
listen, Alvin Kamara is one of my favorite players, not even just running backs. The Dallas Cowboys defense had no answer for him. And the entire time I'm watching the game, I'm cursing in English and Spanish. Pretty sure there was some German in there too. I was hot. I was just like this. Okay. Oh, there's hope. Oh, pick. Oh, there's hope. Oh, pick. Oh, fumble. Recovery. Field goal. Fumble. Recovery. 4 and out.
I was sitting like this is what I was doing. Oh yeah, I won this week. And then
Listen, and the sad part is, even with Dallas losing, I still won. Like, I'm not gonna complain about it, but Dallas, do better.
Do better for sure. Also, Kamara was. Never mind. We'll get to the fantasy.
You might as well just do it.
180 yards and 4 touchdowns. Not only did the Cowboys lose 44-19, but Alvin Kamara got me 44 points in fantasy too.
Look at you go. Listen, you know what?
I'm in this chair today.
I can't even be mad. Like, you're the best friend. I'm happy for you. I'm mad as hell for me. because I'm sick of my. I really. Listen, I'm over it for the week. Dallas is 1-1, and you know it is what it is. And I'm just glad that we're getting these types of losses out the way right now, rather than I don't know, trying to squeak into the freaking postseason like we always do, and then inevitably, like I don't know, getting kicked in the rear end by like them cheese sticks in Green Bay.
So you think that this is going to be like a opposite type of season for the Cowboys instead of, going up until December, running through the league. They start off slow and then at the end they're gelling, and this is when the Cowboys can get it together. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm hoping. I'm not saying because nothing in front of me, but at this point, that's all I got to go off of until I see something better. Like, I mean, if we could just replicate week 1 into like, I don't know, the next, I ain't gonna go 4 weeks. I'll say 2, maybe even 1. Just maybe take a game at a time. Stop laughing! You're laughing, and I'm so serious.
Okay.
I mean, it's the same thing that as we was talking about. Yes, you're gonna like. There's games you're gonna lose. There's games that you shouldn't lose, and there's games that you possibly, on paper, probably shouldn't win. Fact of the matter is, you got to come to play the damn game. You get paid millions of dollars to play the damn game. Like I don't know how many times I have to stress this. Just any given game day, and literally any given game day, any, and that's why I'm not like as infuriated as you probably thought I was going to be. This is real mild mannered for Mac. Okay,
This is also 2 days.
Still agitated as hell. I cannot stand. That's why I'm sitting. That's fair. All right, give me one of your teams on the watch list, sir.
Before that, I was really excited this week because a lot of the podcasts I pay attention to just so happen to have Cowboy fans at the helm. So I got to hear Charlemagne the guy complain about the Cowboys. I got to hear Bubba Dub complain about the Cowboys, and I didn't think about it until 5 minutes. And not only do I get to listen to you about the Cowboys, but I don't know why. I didn't realize that I get to be here live to watch it. Like I get to see the first reaction podcast wise to you and the boys, and this is great for me. So thank you for being here to see.
You're welcome.
And
Anything really I could do to just lighten up your day or add some more entertainment to your your smorgasbord of reactions that you've probably already laughed at, but because we know each other personally, I may just happen to be one of your best friends and a diehard Dallas fan. I also hate the fact that 90% of my team seems to think it's our year. Ain't gonna be our year if we keep losing like this, sis. Better get it together. Better find a solution. Throw a band-aid on it, and kiss it, rub some alcohol, and call it good. Better pick it up and get amnesia for the next week. Hell,
football season gets real.
And then and I feel so much better.
Cowboys fan when the Cowboys
I really listen.
You're like when they get mad about like why do we pay this man every time every year? It's like that's how you know football's here. Cowboys are like half of them are pissed, but they still think they're gonna win the Super Bowl. They're mad about all this shit. Dak's not paid. Dak is paid. Pay the man, take his money back. It's just fun. The roller coaster.
Pay the man, take the money back.
It's so fun to watch the loop-de-loops and not have to be on that ride with y'all. It's just exciting for me. So thank you again.
Listen, I'm not on the ride with nobody.
Okay.
I get a lot of respect is like because I don't always be like Dallas is gonna. First of all, Dallas got to get to the freaking postseason and win a game, not just get there and win it. And actually, like I don't know because we sitting on. I've always seen them freaking play Green Bay or the 49ers. So if we can either have a good enough record to where we can avoid both them mugs, we'd be fine. Or I don't know, just play football better, do better, just do better. Please move on to a team that is on your watch list, best friend.
Well, I will, but let's stay in Texas. Houston Texans pick up a win. Gritty. I call it gritty against the Bears. Rookie Caleb Williams comes into town, and with Caleb Williams, man, and I said this last week, you see flashes of why he was the number 1 overall pick. Like some of those sacks that he avoided, a lot of them didn't end up in a lot of plays or anything like that. But the way he's able to make people miss and get out of trouble, you can see why he was the number 1 overall pick. But then the decision making, Like it didn't even look like there was a bear in the vicinity for some of those picks he threw. But that'll come as growing pains. There's some good. The Bears defense looks awesome. This was more of a defensive battle than anything. The Texans defense looked good as well. Stroud was only 23 of 36, threw for 260 and a touchdown. But once again, Nico Collins had 135 of those yards. Caleb Williams did make it to double figures this week. He completed 23 passes instead of 9. So that's the positive. Also, you know what's crazy is no rookie quarterback has thrown a touchdown yet.
That's wild. Like, that's real life wild. It's going to happen. Probably not, honestly. I'm going to say week 6.
Damn. Uh, did you see when Mixon got hurt?
I did not. I know that he got hurt, but I don't know what extent.
Well, it's an ankle injury. That's really all that's come out so far. But it's more about how it's the hip drop tackle. It's the first real discussion we get to have this year about the
Oh yeah.
You know, it's still kind of fuzzy. Like they said, there's not going to be a lot of flags thrown for it, but fines will come after. I'm not sure if they did give a fine for that, but that was just with the naked eye. That looked like what a hip drop tackle was, especially when he flings his legs forward and you're like sitting on the back of Mixon's legs. You know what I mean? So we'll see what comes of that. But that looks to be the first hip drop tackle rule thing that we'll run into this season.
Yeah, and I did, and now that I'm like thinking back to just my everyday daily routine as far as like listening to all my morning shows and everything, ironically enough, I was listening to the Pat McAfee show from yesterday's like Monday's show, from the weekend and everything, and somebody had mentioned about the hip drop tackle, and I was like, oh, I forgot that's, consciously as a fan forgetting that's no longer a proper form of tackling. As a player, I'm like, oh, somebody's about to get ejected, player, and, it just, they correlate but don't. But my point is that they were talking about how, just like you said, it's going to be more after game stack ups rather than flags, because like what type of flag would it be? I mean, other than unnecessary roughness or illegal, maybe could be an illegal hands or
Unsportsmanlike
something to that effect, and I hate that for Joe Mixon, because he's had to work so hard to get his spot back and then some, and then this happens and it's not even something that you can control. Like, you were doing your job, you were running the ball, and somebody else was trying to do their job, and that it just, the math did math.
Exactly. I mean, and he was able to come back in the game, so it probably wasn't that severe. I guess we'll see after the adrenaline and everything wears off. See if he's on the injury report this week, but he returned to the game. The run game was really a no go for both of these teams. The Texans brought so much pressure to Chicago.
All the heat.
Hmm?
Man,
Without
listen,
even rushing really the whole time, like without bringing that many guys, they were still getting pressure. They pressured Caleb Williams, I think, 23 times. And for a team that's not known for bringing that kind of pressure, perfect way to throw off a rookie quarterback.
it's
You
to
don't
throw
you,
pressure.
you don't study them bringing pressure all week, and then they bring the house. You're not ready for that. You know what I mean? You can try to adjust, but with a rookie quarterback, that'll throw you for a loop.
It's
And not
very, yeah, as a rookie or even a second year, it's
sure.
hard to adjust on the fly like that, unless your name is CJ Stroud. Apparently, and not for nothing, the Bears have a very respectable defense. I don't give a damn what their record is. I don't give a damn what nobody say. If you watch the sport of football and have progressively watched the essential rebuild of the Chicago Bears on the defensive side, there's some dogs on that side of the ball. Like Jonathan Owens, to be exact, dogs like all over.
Sorry.
I mean, Mr. Simone Biles.
Oh, okay. All right. And missing Keenan Allen probably didn't help either. Having a vet receiver like that probably could have alleviated a lot of that pressure, but he was out for the game. And you see the leadership of him because Caleb Williams was still hunting him out on the sidelines, seeing what he sees, talking about it the whole time. So that's really good to see. But Keenan Allen will help a lot of that if he can be protected.
Really. Fact. That offensive line is atrocious.
It's like 7 sacks. They've sacked 7 times.
Like, in one game. Like maybe I could see 7 sacks between two. Okay, 4 first game, 3 this game, flipped, or 2, 2, and 2, and 2. But not 7 in a game. Like what? Do better, Chicago Bears offensive line.
Do better. Give me another one of your teams.
Listen, and this is really unfortunate because I really like this rookie quarterback. Happens to be from your home state. I know. I'm so sorry. The unfortunateness that is the Denver Broncos that are currently 0-2. Okay, but I'll say this to Denver's credit, and to start with Sean Payton. Okay, he came out and said, "I have to do better at coaching. I have to do better at making decisions." That's commendable to me. Like. And not that there's
You still gone? You froze. Oh. Hey.
Oh hey, welcome back. I was still talking. I thought you were just like actually like messing with me again. So
no, you froze that time.
I hate this for us, but this is where we live. Fact of the matter is, and they lost it, and it's close games. It's not blowouts like 44-19. It's this week. I know. Listen, I have to keep getting it out until I'm over it. Give me till Saturday. I'll be fine. But you lose to the Steelers 13-6. You lost by a touchdown. That's respectable. Bo Nix goes to 6 yards, 246, and 2 interceptions. Then he has 25 carries because you move Samaje Perine elsewhere. 25 carries, or 4 carries for 25 yards, and then Josh Reynolds, who had the bulk of your passing yards as far as stat leadership, with 4 carries, 25 yards for Bo, and then 4 receptions for 67 yards for Josh Reynolds. Which is interesting because Josh Reynolds has been on the team for a little bit, but we wait till we get Bo Nix, and nothing against Bo Nix. Like, you just beat out 2 veterans to get the starting spot, and you basically. So
I'll beat out Zach Wilson.
That's fair. That's fair. You don't even play quarterback. Oh. That's fair. Hell, I would beat out Zach Wilson, and I am like string quarterback. And it's only because I like to run and I'm a lefty. I ain't great, but that's fair. I can beat out Zach Wilson.
So it wasn't my thing.
This is Zach Wilson out here thinking about chasing hot moms.
You talked about Sean Payton saying he do a better job coaching. I could see how you commend that, but to me, that's a problem because there's not a lot of expectations in Denver this year. All you really should be doing is coaching and developing. So if your head veteran coach and a championship winning coach is already saying, "I'm not coaching our first round quarterback good enough," that's a problem 2 weeks into the season.
I can absolutely agree with you as far as like, okay, it's week 2 and we already got a bunch of problems. But the fact that you're recognizing that, just like as far as like the bigger picture, I was with. Like, okay, like you can, like, that you got stuff to work on, might as well come out and still own it. And it wasn't something that he was like really pressured in, like, that people was asking questions. But back to your point, like, that's a problem. Like, how we fix it, and quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Agreed. Last team on my watch list, man, and they're in danger of getting kicked off. The Baltimore Ravens. Losing to not only just because they lost to the Raiders. To their credit,
listen, Gardner Minshew is a dude.
He's that man, and the way they walked him down at the end of the game with Devontae Adams was he was like Kirk Cousins. The way they were moving that ball, so
literally just dinking and diving, just like, all right, cool. So you're gonna pass. You're gonna pass. Here, you can run the ball for a second. You can and scorching them, like, and handily, like 5 to 7, 8 yards a pass, unless it's a long shot.
Right. And you look at it and you get 247 yards out of Lamar. He threw a touchdown and an interception. Derrick Henry ran for 84 yards in the TED. Zay Flowers had 91 in a touchdown. So, like, I didn't get to catch a lot of the game, but you see production. But again, it comes down to the end of the games. The same thing we talked about against the Chiefs. Now the problem isn't just the Chiefs; it's them getting done in the fourth quarter.
Facts, and I think the other thing for the Ravens is, and the only part as far as like giving them the benefit of the doubt, just for me personally, is they have old new pieces. Derrick Henry, prime example, but still. Literally does Derrick Henry things, as our guy Ferg likes to say. It's a thing. He still does Derrick Henry things, like, and I'll forever say that. Like, I just love that. Zay Flowers coming of the back half of last season. Got banged up during camp, banged up during preseason. Isaiah Likely, same thing, banged up. Everybody seems to be pretty fresh for the most part. Then you get Mark Andrews back. Why are you not targeting him more? Like, what? Again, it's the tight end thing. It's Isaiah Likely, Travis Kelce, Jake Ferguson. I can keep going. Like, what is so wrong with using your tight ends? They're there for a reason. You were paying them money. Put them in the freaking offense.
Seriously. Especially some of these established guys. It's been crazy to me. Also, people calling for John Harbaugh's job. Shut up.
Shut up. Do better, fans.
That's it. Just do the 2 games in, and they'll figure it out. But again, we said this last week, so we'll see when Baltimore decides to get on the winning side of things. I didn't write down who they have next week, but I can live.
I don't think I wrote down any of my opponents either, and that's cool. I wrote them for college though, ironically, which makes no sense because I either miss it on one side and get it on the other, or I get it on one side and don't get it on the other. It's never the same.
I think I did half of both.
God, we're really killing it today.
Oh. Next week, 3:25 Central Standard Time.
Oh, they play Dallas, right?
Ravens Dallas.
Is that in Baltimore or is that in Dallas?
Dallas. As it sits.
And Dallas better not be a favorite.
Ravens are a 1.5 favorite.
Okay, good. I'm like, you're not about to sit here and tell me that the Dallas Cowboys are a favorite against the Ravens.
They have a worse record, though.
They have better offensive production.
Just get to the fourth quarter.
Even being 0-2.
Get to the fourth quarter, you'll be fine against them.
Can we make it to the game first? Like, can we get off the bus, get out the training room to the field? Like, I know the math ain't mathing, but I don't know how I feel about this game.
I'm excited.
I mean, like, I'm like, oh hell, like Dak, Lamar, Zeke, and or Dalvin Cook.
You just saw what Alvin Kamara did.
I know. So I'm like, oh god, like I'm secretly like, this could go really, 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 really bad. Or the Dallas Cowboys that we saw the first week could come out this game. And much too, as much as I like to give my team and my fan base crap, it's true though. Some of these teams that have had struggles this week or that haven't gotten, the first win or first touchdown, whatever, I feel like are just that close. Like they're literally just that close. Whether you look at stat line, whether you watch the game, give it the eye test. But that's the type of thing we do here on Pass the Rock. That's what we do.
Look at the NFL. There's not a lot of teams getting their asses beat. I mean, the Cowboys, obviously. But even like teams like the Bears hung in this week. Washington's been hanging tough both weeks. The Cowboys got blown out. But there's a lot of teams staying close. The Cowboys got blown out. But all these other teams are really fighting. You see a lot of improvement from some of these younger teams. I know the Cowboys got blown out, but if you look at like how many times you gonna let me say it? That's dope.
I can't. You realize every time you say it, I can't just like go back at you. You realize that, right? Like every time, and I feel like you're just you want me to roast you, and I physically can't do that because you're my best friend. 2, I know where it's coming from. It's a place of like, yeah, your team did not do great, best friend, but I sympathize.
I have no expectations this year for my team, so roast away. Like I'm cool.
Where's your brother? Let's roast him instead.
He's an Eagles fan too.
Let's roast Caleb instead.
He's an Eagles fan. Y'all in the same boat. Same boat.
And Big D money.
He's
an Eagles fan?
Yes, he's an Eagles fan.
I hate this for me.
Dawkins,
I hate this for me.
Dawkins, Westbrook, and McNabb got him back in the day.
Okay, all right, that's respectable. That's respectable.
He got good jerseys too. That's always a factor.
Valid. Agreed. So,
who's your top fantasy performer this week?
I had three again. And I really not that I don't want this to be a pattern, because obviously, both of us want to still be in the top three. I'm 2-0 right now. You're 2-0. Life is good over here on Fantasy World. Yeah. But I want to be able to see that there's more variety as far as like who I'm seeing. But this week's list, as far as because this time I only found three, but Sam Darnold at number 3 was projected just over 15. 15.8 was he was projected. Got me 20.9, so just under 21. Number 2, big dog Minnesota, Justin Jefferson. I was projected at just about 17 and a half points. Got me 23 and a half points for that number 2 spot. Number 1, yes. He's a GOAT. Number 1 for me this week, Jordan Mason. Yeah. Jordan Mason. Projected at just over 16.1 points, got me 17 and a half. Nice. And did it handily. Like, just, and you can tell, like, he's still a raw as far as just, like, best players, that type of thing. Jordan Mason, rather, you can tell is still raw, but it still is, like, he's like that refined rawness. Like, he hasn't got a lot of snaps with the first team, hasn't got a lot of play time on the first team, practice game-wise. But you can tell he knows what he's doing. And honestly, I might get a lot of flack for this, but he reminds me of a younger Marshawn Lynch without the crazy antics.
That's the best part, though.
And I love my beast mode. That's my guy. Okay, still to this day, between him and Jerome Bettis, the bus. Beast mode and the bus. Like, Jordan Mason, very angry runner. Very angry and very particular about how he runs. And that was the thing for me that stuck out, was he's very particular about hitting those spots, just like CMC. He's very meticulous about, like, okay, if I'm running on the sideline with the ball closest to out of bounds, I'm tucking and driving and still making moves, but I'm protecting the ball. Same thing if I'm on the short side. It's like I'm not going to say he doesn't, but so far he's made very little mistakes in his second game debut.
Really good. I got 2, and they're both like old faithful but unsurprising teams from this weekend, at least. Devontae Adams got me 26 in that comeback win, so I'll take that from Devontae. Alvin Kamara.
I knew it. You just was waiting for that one, wasn't you, bud?
Honestly, I didn't even write down Devontae Adams, but I know he got me 26, so I just said Devontae Adams first, so then you'd forget that I also have Alvin Kamara. 180 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns. A lot of that was done in the first half, but I'll take it. He's only projected to get me 13. Ended the game with 44. So it was an all right day. Thank you, Cowboys.
You know what? I just listen. I as salty as I am, you got to give credit where credit is due. Dallas, you don't get no credit this week. Alvin Kamara, Derek Carr, okay. Who else is Taysom Hill? Bravo, you did the damn thing. Dallas, you got the damn thing beat out of you. Listen, I don't know how many times I'm going to keep going back to this with drama nuts. Fact of the matter is, they got your points. They got us points. Like, fantasy has so far been phenomenal for us. I can't talk about nobody else. Who you got next on your fantasy matchup for the week?
Your teams are fucking up my parlays, though. Because last week it was Iowa.
I'm sorry.
And then this week, Dallas. My parlay.
Really? You had really?
I'm just saying.
That's fair. I'll give you that one. That's you can have that one.
Up next I got D. 3-man weave versus 3-man weave consecutive weeks. This past week was D versus CB. Next week is me and D. He's projected to win right now, but I was projected to lose this week too, so I don't care.
Valid. This week I got at Facebook KC Show. It wasn't full, like the actual pod name for whatever reason wasn't pulling all the way up, and I got sick of sitting here and pressing it.
That's the Not Another Football Show.
Oh, okay. I love this for me.
FB stands for football, not Facebook.
Facebook's the same initials. Look.
Did you have anybody that you wish you would have played this week?
Wish I would have played. Yes. I mean, and I wrote them down, and only because they technically would have been my fourth, my fourth best player. But I wish I would have started Khalil Shakir this week. Projected at 9.5 points, got me 10.7.
Nice. I don't have anybody I wish I would have played, which is sad for my tight end position. Everybody, the max points, I was the most efficient fantasy manager this week. I don't remember last week I was the least efficient. This week I played all my highest.
Moving up.
But I mentioned tight ends. I have Dalton Kincaid, who only had 4 receptions, 33 yards, got me 7 points. And then I also have Sam Laporta, who had 2 catches for 13 yards, got me 3 points. So if I could get some more execution out of the tight end spot, that's why I'm harping on it mostly. It's selfish reasons. But other than that, I'd be A-okay.
That's fair.
And Patrick Mahomes.
Felt. No, and I that's what I at this point, I really would just hope TJ Hawkinson comes back sometime. Like, that would be A-okay. But as far as our fantasy, I'm not complaining because I also have Brock Bowers. And I'm glad I got him because he's killing it. Ironically enough, because if anybody knows the old school Oakland style of Raider football, even now to an extent, now that they're in Vegas, they use tight ends for blocking, not so much passing as far as the Raiders are concerned. But now you get those pieces, you get your running back, or you had your running back. You have the human athlete that is Devontae Adams. You now have the man, the myth, and legend, and Gardner Minshew II. Like, he's a dude.
Is there a way that Minshew is the quarterback going forward, or is this still just like a gap quarterback? He's going to be here until they draft somebody or go in free agency. What do you see? If he plays well, if they make the playoffs this year, I'm not saying that's going to happen. But if that did happen, is Minshew a long-term answer in Vegas?
Personally, if the Raiders keep having the efficiency and not even so much, obviously we want to win. The goal is to win the game and get to the big ship. But if he, keeps stacking up wins, keeps stacking up good, consistent, games, whether they're losing by a touchdown or less, I don't see how they don't make him like the, long term, because I don't think at this point, I don't think you want to go back to Aiden O'Donnell or Aiden O'Connell. Yeah.
No.
ACD.
You don't.
I don't think you want to go back to that. So what do you do? Like, do you just say, okay, Gardner, like, do you be real with him and be like, okay, you're a gap quarterback, go win us a couple games, we'll give you a little bit of incentive? Or do you be like, this is your contract right now, this is what you can earn, play for this, not for what you're getting. Right. But when you think about it, Gardner Minshew has had to do that for almost every team he's been on. Like, really, especially going back to Jacksonville when Trevor Lawrence got hurt. He took over the reins, damn near got them to the playoffs that first or second year Trevor Lawrence was in the league. Then he gets shipped to the Colts. Does the same thing with the Colts. Carson Wentz gets hurt. Anthony Richardson gets hurt. You still have Sam Ehlinger, who, frankly, I feel like should have gotten a fair shake. Coming out of that Texas football, pedigree with Sarkisian, Quinn Ewers behind him, and now, passed on. You already had solid quarterbacks there. Sam Ehlinger gets hurt, throw in more Gardner Minshew. Plug and play. Boom, boom, like a USB cord. Like that's what he is. He's like the NFL's USB cord to quick quarterback solutions, but he's actually good. Like Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback, so I just don't understand how he hasn't gotten a long term somewhere,
Is
like
that
in a
just,
meaningful long term, not like 2 years.
that's going to be his career? He just bounces around, gap quarterback here, gap quarterback there, always serviceable. Somebody could always use a backup or something like that. Or does he get a starting job and make like solidify a job anywhere? Was he because he's what 1 2 years in Vegas right now? His deals for?
2, I think this is 2. Yeah, because last year, like towards the end of last season, him and Aiden was going like
Oh, he was
they was.
still he finished out the year with for the Colts last year. They brought him over in the offseason.
So then I must be thinking of somebody else, but
Contract is it 1 or 2 years?
gotta be 2, gotta be 2.
Yeah, I think so.
It gotta be you like because you can't just give him a 1 year and then be like, oh, okay, if you don't do this and this in one full calendar year, like give him a year and then another one to see like, okay, this is what you did, this is what we expect or are expecting to see as far as like progression wise.
Well, where do you see the Raiders drafting though? Because this is going to be another decent year for quarterbacks in the draft. That's another thing that if they get halfway through the season, nothing's really going their way. Do they start getting no win for Quinn or like what? There's a lot of variables. So like if they're not
There's all the variables, and now that you say that, I'm still convinced that given the right opportunity for somebody to make a comeback or really re-solidify or reestablish who they are as a player, person, whatever you want to call it, I don't think the Raiders draft for a position. I think they draft for O-line, D-line, special teams. Like if everything goes the way it's been going and it just keeps progressing and they do well, I don't think they draft. I will say this. I don't think they draft for a quarterback right away. I think they will draft for one to have a backup, to kind of essentially, enhance the quarterback room and essentially like, okay, new guy on the block is here. He's just as entitled to a shot as everybody else. Put in the work and we'll, do the 7-on-7s, learn your playbooks, do your stuff. We'll have the competition and go from there. That's essentially what happened with Gardner Minshew, except he didn't. He kind of had an unfair advantage already being in the league and already have played at some of the top levels for some of these other teams.
fair. College time?
Yeah, this is a hot episode. Pass the rock. I'm for it.
You too.
To be honest,
Let's get to college, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to do
let's go college.
a little bit backwards today. I'm going to start the college segment with Pay That Man, Arch Manning. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Arch, but let's go.
Texas, redshirt freshman quarterback, comes in for Quinn Ewers. First play, he's in the game, throws a 19-yard touchdown. Second play, he's in the game, little handoff, nothing too big. Third play of the game, boom, 67-yard touchdown. Tell me, and I asked CB this the other day on the weave. You tell me another Manning that's ever ran 65 yards in a season, and we saw Arch Manning in one play, and they're comparing speeds and movement to Tyreek Hill the way your boy Arch was running. So, and he only threw 12 passes. He was 9 for 12.
That was it.
9 for 12,
12 passes on 14 attempts.
5 of them things. 5 of them things. 5 touchdowns over UTSA, 56-7. Best case scenario, Quinn probably won't play this week, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully, and you can still kind of give Arch his time, let him grow still. You don't have to rush Arch in. But if you do, he'll be ready to go, man. He was also named SEC Co-Freshman of the Week, and in this 3-ish quarters of Arch Manning football, he's now 7th in the Heisman vote rankings. 7th. But next up for the Horns, Louisiana Monroe, which we are a 44-point favorite. Hey, there's that number again.
Listen, you don't stop. You just gonna keep throwing it. See, you're childish, and I'm for it. I ain't even gonna lie, I'm for it. Like I came on here damn well knowing, like expecting this, and this is why I can never matter because it just be subtle. Oh, hey, 44 points. Oh, Hey, you know that number real well. Stop. I'm crying, but you're not wrong. Listen, I had 3 people for Pay That Man. And Arch is the number one on. Like, listen, you know I love me some Arch Manning. That's my guy. Like, Archibald C. Manning is my dude. Love me some of him. Those are football quarterbacks in the damn sport, known to man. Like, did people expect him to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm Arch Manning, I've got family values? No, my boy can play. My boy can play football, y'all. Okay, he can play. He's unfortunately fun. For Quinn Ewers, he's out a little, with a rib injury, and I would much rather give Quinn Ewers the time to not have to rush back from his injury, and fully, or for the most part, fully seeing Arch Manning on display. He knows how to read defenses. He knows how to read zone coverages. He knows how to read, he knows how to take what the defense is giving him and then some. Like,
a Manning with wheels is crazy to me.
Mind blowing, mind blowing. Because listen. And big respect and shout out to Mr. Omaha Peyton Manning and Mr. Eli Manning. Y'all was running like giraffes, baby. And, you're also, both of y'all are 6'4" and really skinny. So I get it. Arch Manning is about my height, 5'10", maybe 6'1". He's about 6'1". Stacked kid. My guy was looking like Usain Bolt out here with this football, dude. I'm sorry, but I mean, and to much of our shock, and not really shock, for those of us who have paid attention, like Arch Manning, just like you said about last week, Arch Manning's got the most swag of any, even his papa, and his papa was a goon. Okay, Papa Arch was a goon, but baby Arch, nah, y'all got nothing on him. You got nothing on him. 5 tutties.
Is that what the kid said? You got that shit.
Period.
Getting to one of your teams.
Huh. All right. Well, we might as well stick with the rest of Pay That Man. My second Pay That Man, the athlete from the shirt that you wearing, and he's classified as athlete. That big old number 1-2 Travis Hunter. Man, listen. And for whatever reason, as much as I'm like, because Colorado's on my watch list. Colorado's now 2-1. They beat their in-state rival Colorado State at Colorado State 28-9. Next game's versus Baylor. That's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to get back to that part in a minute. But Shedeur went off. But obviously, you can't have one without the other. Them two is like peanut butter and jelly, fried chicken, stink on shit. Whatever pair you want to call it, that's what those two are. But there's a reason. There's literally a reason that they gave him his own position on ESPN to classify him, or any other sports athlete.
That's
like line. What other player outside of Champ Bailey and Deion Sanders started 2 different positions and handily, not like it's not that he sucks at one and is good at. He's good at both. Like literally good at both.
With 13 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 tackles, 1 interception. Like that's a crazy ass stat line.
Pay that man.
Aces just beat the Storm. I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, did they really? Oh yeah, they sure did. I just got it.
We're looking better now.
Ace up.
I'm glad you put Travis Hunter in the Pay That Man, because he did also put the bill for dinner for that offensive line for how clean they kept Shedeur. 1 sack this week, kept Shedeur extremely clean. Travis Hunter was on the airwaves saying dinner's on him wherever they wanted in the city because of how they protected Shedeur this week. So good on the offensive line, and I know the NIL's out.
See, listen.
Good shit, by
yeah. Listen, go. Say And that's how you know that your team values each other. Like not just coaching staff, not just, coaches, admins, the players. Like that's how you know you like your team values each other as brothers, players, sisters, whatever you want to call it. Like, and especially now, like, with the world of NIL and like when we were in school, it was like hard enough to just get more on a scholar, like try to get an increase on scholarship for, whatever it was. Now it's a little bit easier to access as far as like, okay, I want to find a deal to cover this, or I want to find one deal to cover 96% of whatever, whatever extra stuff it is. Like, but when you can take the money that you're making from doing a sport that you're playing in college and still getting an education and then be like, I need to feed y'all, y'all, and people don't realize that playing offensive line in any aspect, any realm of football is really an unfortunate it's a thankless job. Pause 10 seconds from football. There was a fight with Brittany Griner and Kia Jackson for at the LA Sparks game. Don't know the details, just came up on ESPN ticker. So if you see it, pay attention. Anyway, playing line is can be the line is either getting blamed for not protecting the quarterback when the quarterback messes up, or not opening a hole or making a block. Like, but they don't necessarily get praised a lot in the limelight for when the quarterback makes a good throw downfield, or the running back gets a hole open, or wide receiver is able to shed a block and catch a pass. Like 90% of that is because your offensive line is protecting your pieces around you. So the fact that it just resonates with me because I've played offensive line before, and I still to this day, going into my final season, not debated about it because I'm like, I would really like to save my kneecaps, but I'm too aggressive. I want to do that. So
in trenches.
Listen, I just can't. Not gonna do it. But shout out to Travis Hunter for showing your O-line some love.
Absolutely. Wester had a good game too, with 5 catches, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns out of him too. And like you said, next up is Baylor. They're a 2-point favorite on that one too. Oh, it's my turn, huh?
Which is honestly somebody. I was talking to somebody at the job today, and they were like, "Oh, Baylor's going to scrape Colorado." I said, "Baylor hasn't really been great since RG3. They were relevant when Charlie Brewer was the quarterback." Yeah, and I couldn't even tell you who any of Baylor's pieces are at this moment in time because that's how much they have fallen off. But I'm personally going to give them respect because they have had and have been known to have a pedigree of football, like a championship pedigree of football. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, Baylor, I'm pretty sure still has that big 6'6", 6'5", 400-pound tight end or running back. He is big. Like, he's like you and I put together with another 100 pounds on top. Like my guy, and he could ball too. It's not even because he's big. Like my dude got hands and he got some feet. Yeah, he's a big one. And I'm for it. I'm just at what point, as far as just this last point for Colorado, at what point do you simmer down the theatrics, or do you keep the theatrics up because that's what's keeping your team?
I understand the question if that was a lot of other teams, but Deion Sanders is your coach. His nickname is Prime Time, so there's going to be a show. So I don't know if you focus so much on the outside noise, or you just keep doing what you do. You know what I mean? That's what got them there. That's what worked at Jackson State. It's not quite going as well at Colorado, but like that is the
similarities.
Yeah, you don't get a show.
That's fair. Yeah, that's valid. Okay. Next team on your watch list, sir.
If I would have had 3, there was no way I was putting other people on the list with Arch Manning this week. If I would have had 3, Travis Hunter would have been on my list too. I thought about putting him on there because that's my guy, but it's all about Arch Manning this week. Oregon beats their in-state rival as well, 49-14. And you talk about keeping the quarterback clean. No sacks for Dylan Gabriel this week. Super efficient, 20 of 24, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns. Um, this was a team I had on upset alert this week because of how close these games have been played and just how they haven't really clicked yet. But a 49-14 victory over your in-state rival kind of changed that taste in your mouth. They did stay put at number 9, so no movement in the rankings for them. Next up is UCLA, who's 1-1.
Huh. Okay. Oregon and UCLA. Dylan Gabriel, and I don't remember who the quarterback is for UCLA, but that's already technically that's still a Pac-12 matchup, just with both of them being in the Big Ten. Now,
that's so weird.
Stop, stop. And just to really kind of unpack a little bit more as far as what's now known as the Pac-2. The Pac-2 now has added 4 other teams to essentially recreate what was taken away.
So do they?
Because you have to have 10 teams. You have to have 10 teams to be considered an actual conference.
So they can't call it Pac.
Yeah, they're not. It's a group, I guess. Group of 2, group of 6, whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, like I said, those teams are slipping out of my head. But the matchup is what made me remember. Like, oh hey, there's teams that are coming in.
The 6-pack would be a cold conference, though.
And it really lit through the 6-pack. Come on, 6-pack. Come on.
Dope. We got.
I love this for us. Well, we already talked about your Texas Longhorns, so we're going to scoot down real fast, back down to West Virginia and Pat McAfee School. They are 1-2 right now. Lost to Pitt in a tough game. Lost by 4, 38-34. Next game is against the Kansas Jayhawks, who are also 1-2. And not for nothing, this Kansas West Virginia game is going to be a shootout as well.
Kansas trying to be a football school now.
And the reason, like, my dramatic pause is just more or less for the fact that, again, one school who is known to be a primarily dominant basketball school has, seemingly enough, started to turn themselves into a football school, or at least relevant in the sport of football when it comes to college. West Virginia, who has a conference championship pedigree, national championship pedigree, they have had pretty good NFL talent. Hashtag Pat McAfee. Okay, Benny Bishop II, who's playing for the Steelers right now. It's going to be honestly, I see this game going into overtime. I really do, and I'm taking West Virginia by 3. Because it's in Morgantown.
That's fair.
Garrett Green is somebody that I'm very high on. I don't know what it is. It's like, that new and I'm not saying like new and shiny, like he hasn't been relevant, because he absolutely has. He's gotten to his team, gotten the Mountaineers back to being talked about or looked at as far as the college football scene after, the last decade or so, a little bit less as far as that. I'm just really high on how he takes care of the football. Very, very efficient, has wheels, has arm speed, but not a lot of power behind his throw. But that's also because he's a little bit of a back foot quarterback. And again, nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to be a back foot quarterback, you better use all them hips and get that ball down the field with the other half of your body that normally isn't used. Like, fact of the matter is, this is going to be a bloodbath. Like I said, I'm taking West Virginia by 6 points. It's going to be 21-27, West Virginia in Morgantown. As far as that matchup's concerned. Yeah, I thought I had more to add, but that's really it as far as just West Virginia and Kansas.
Up next, Mizzou beats number 24 BC. We both had this as a pretty interesting game, and it turned out to be 27-21. Brady Cook, 21-30, 264. rushing and a throwing touchdown. That man, Luther Burden III, 6 catches, 117 yards in the TUD.
LB3.
Tough win against BC, who earned their ranking. They're ranked 24th in large part due to that win over Florida State that started that kind of free fall. But Mizzou did drop one spot to 7th with this close victory. Up next, they got Vanderbilt. Should be easy win as well. I won't say easy, but it's a Mizzou win.
See, not a lot, but they're making enough to be seen. Making enough to be seen. That's all I'm going to say right now. You know, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it one way or the other. But right. Vanderbilt, Mizzou should have a fairly decent time getting the W. But Vanderbilt lately has also been known to screw that up for folks. Damn. It's kind of annoying in a good way because you're like, oh, y'all ain't been relevant for a while. Commodores are just going to come in here and try to do some damn thing, and then you do some damn thing, and you might lose by a couple points. But the fact that you stuck around the whole game and didn't get blown out, it's wonderful.
Respectable.
Oh, got 3 more teams. One of them who had a bye week, so we'll just get that one over with right now. Iowa State, 2-0. Most recent win was the 1-point win against the Iowa Hawkeyes in the series last weekend. Well, 2 weekends ago now. They versus Arkansas State at Jack Trice Stadium, which the Iowa State Cyclones should get that one. But again, when you pay some of these teams to come in and play a televised game or a high anticipated game as far as the smaller school is concerned, things can happen like what happened in Notre Dame. And I don't think we need to go back to that. But anyway, Georgia Tech 3-1 is 59 or goes 59-7 over VMI. And I had no idea who VMI was until I looked it up. VMI is a ROTC school.
Oh.
Which makes sense because I'm like, VMI, like the colors, their mascot, I'm almost positive their mascot is either a Commodore or something similar to like the Citadel. Okay. But Georgia Tech 3-1. Next at Louisville. That one's going to be interesting, to be completely honest with you. And I'm taking Georgia Tech by 10. But Louisville obviously has produced one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL outside the fact that he's 0-2. Hashtag Lamar Jackson. Because they have to go to Louisville.
Oh, yeah.
It's already hard enough playing Louisville in your hometown, like in your home stadium. You got to go to Louisville, Kentucky to go play Louisville in Louisville on Louisville turf with Louisville people. And you from Georgia. Yeah, stay lines. He's scary.
You talk about that Arkansas State team. They actually kept it close against Michigan this week. Michigan got the win 20.
They sure did.
And I think this looked a lot more like Michigan football. We talked about at the beginning of the season, Khalil Mullings, he ran for 153 yards on 15 carries. Like
a lot, which is very uncharacteristic of Michigan. Like so I was like, what? Y'all are running the ball?
This is kind of the formula like we assumed we'd see a lot more this season. Something they did a lot when Jim Harbaugh wasn't there last year. They ran the ball basically a whole game last season. So it looks like Michigan's rounding back into form. They got the 28-18 win over that Arkansas State team that faces Iowa State next week. But next up, Michigan's getting tested again. They got number 11 USC, Big Ten rivalry.
I didn't even have Big Ten rivalry, but I guess that's what we're going to call it. We have to. Then as far as Michigan, it sounds like they're starting to figure out the quarterback situation.
Run the ball. That's what they figured out. They're still running the dual quarterback. Huh? You still saw Orgy in there, so you're still seeing both quarterbacks. The formula for Michigan is run the ball, make them stop you.
All right, you pretty much took my punchline, but it's fine. I'm for it. I was like, all right, well, go off. Listen, I ain't even mad at you. Go off, big bro. I ain't mad at you. Come on. Listen, we got at least on my list, we only got one more to cover, and that's obviously my Iowa Hawkeyes. Had a good bounce back. I was impressed. I need y'all to string some wins together in a row. Okay, I can, like I said, I ain't like other Iowa fans. Like I said, I pretty much let the Iowa State game go. Iowa State did their thing. They got the win. Now let's see what Iowa State does with it the rest of the season. Same thing for Iowa. You're now 2-1. You get the win over Troy, and you're 2-1 now. And now, it was a back and forth game. Like, for the record, this is the first team from Alabama that Iowa has ever played in its entire tenure. Just keep that in mind right now. Troy is from Alabama. Troy, Alabama. People didn't know that. Yeah. Cade McNamara, who honestly impressed me, didn't quite have any throwing touchdowns, but impressed me because it seems like even with last week playing Iowa State, every game that I've seen him play, he's progressively getting more comfortable. He's progressively, personally to me, showing signs of the old school Cade McNamara that has a Big Ten championship at Michigan. That was that dude. I mean, and honestly, he's still that dude, but you now have to be that dude at a school that hasn't been known for having even good quarterback or production as far as the NFL outside of Nate Stanley, CJ Beathard, and Drew Tate. Okay. You're Cade McNamara. You're coming into what's seemingly enough becoming a revamped offense with having Tim Lester. Was offense this week was until Cade McNamara can produce in the end zone. He can get you to the end zone, can get you damn near in the sticks. There's a couple drives, 3 and out, or we had to, three and field goal, normal Iowa football. Then they made a switch. They put Brendan Sullivan in there. And I was like, are we running dual quarterbacks in the red zone? Like, I was like, this ain't very Kirk Ferentz-esque. And I said, that's a Tim Lester move. Like, I was proud. I was like,
refreshing.
Okay. It's hell. And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. Because, thinking back to, like, all the times that Kirk Ferentz would have trick plays and they would actually work. But you kept quarterback in there. Or you switch them for, the kicker. But you switch it out for your second string or 1B quarterback. I can't even call him second string because he got just as many looks as Cade McNamara did as far as many times as Iowa got into the red zone. I like it. I'm not saying Brendan Sullivan's going to take the starting spot, but it's a possibility. Either way, Cade McNamara goes 19 for 23 with 176 yards. Jacob Gill, who is a true wide receiver. And correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure I'm not, though. Iowa offense has predominantly been fullback heavy, running back heavy, and tight end heavy as far as offensive efficiency. Am I right?
100%.
Complete 180 flip. Wide receiver this, wide receiver that. Tight ends have gotten maybe 1 to 2 to 3 targets a game, which honestly grinds my gears to the most because that is what Iowa football is. It's part of its identity. And I don't feel it's because you have a new offensive coordinator, you should take that out. Now, being a player, and you being a player, I feel like the only reason they haven't been giving the tight ends looks is because we're about to start Big Ten play. And we go to Minnesota this weekend in Minneapolis. And if anybody remembers the debacle that happened last year, it wasn't a fair catch. He did not wave his arms. Those referees are garbage. And PJ Fleck sucks. Fuck you, PJ Fleck.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lots of Iowa fans. Oh, there's if you run into an Iowa fan and you mention anything about Minnesota, 77% of the time it's gonna be a fuck PJ Fleck comment. And I don't care. I'll say with chest, fuck you, PJ Fleck, because you ain't shit.
Hey, who is the third person you had on pay that man?
That big dog himself, Caleb Johnson.
Fair enough.
From the University of Iowa. Listen, and it honestly, I was not going to put him on here because I'm like, that's biased. But then I'm sitting here like, no, because Evan's going to have Arch on there. Like, I already knew it. I was like, but Caleb Johnson has literally been the spark in the running game for the offense that we have been wanting, like a true running back, like 6'1", 215, 220, and does not stop moving his legs. Like there have been so many plays I'm like, oh, okay, if this were I'm just throwing a random name. If this were Adquan Wadley, who actually did the exact same style of running that Caleb Johnson is doing right now. Doesn't like if it were any other running back, they're not getting the first down. They're not, they're not still chopping their feet to get forward. This man chops his feet and gets to the first down and then some. And same thing with Kamari Moulton, who frankly could have been also on here as well. He also added to that offensive efficiency as far as the ground. But Caleb Johnson, 2 touchdowns, 73 yards, both run after catch and ground game, and then 25 carries on top of that. And he's the best running back in college football right now as far as efficiency. And here's a hot take: why the hell is he not being talked about in the Heisman race with Travis Hunter? Because if Iowa still keeps putting up production like this, I'm not saying he's going to get all the way to the top, but put them in that conversation.
You know who would have been my third player on my Pay That Man this week?
Let me hear it.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, Cam. It was for me. It was Cam Ward, Kamari Moulton, and Gunnar Helm.
That's fair.
Like those are my top the top 3 for the third spot.
19 for 28, 346, and 5 touchdowns. Beat Ball State 62-0.
That kid is nasty.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah, that kid is nasty. Yeah, and honestly, if there's ever a point in this season where Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe go against each other, and I am not an Alabama fan. I don't like anything about Alabama, and it still pains me to this day that the woman that I was named after, shout out to my granny, rest in heaven, the woman was, the woman was a freaking Alabama fan. For what reason? And I'll give you the reason. She had a giant girl crush on Nick Saban. And I love that for her. But no, you could have picked any other team, but Nick Saban, I'm like, all right. I'm not, at least it's something else that we could talk about and relate to. But Jalen Milroe that's at least 1,000-yard passing game with the both of them together.
We also could get
if not,
there's Arch at some point if he's still playing and Ewers can't go. We can get Milroe Arch this year too.
And the Tide has to come to Longhorn Stadium this year.
Yeah.
Because you guys went to Tuscaloosa. Arch Manning versus Jalen Milroe in Texas. And Texas got y'all number right now. I'm going to take Arch. I'm biased, but I'm taking Arch.
Likewise.
Man.
Who needs to do better this week? Or did we go through all the do-betters throughout the show for you?
Outside of the Dallas Cowboys just needing to do better, Michigan still needs to do better. We're just sorry, Michigan. I'm not sorry. Y'all need to do better. At least you guys got Sherrell on a contract now. So shout out. But I think my biggest do better, honestly, is just the entirety of things that surround the Colorado Buffaloes football team. It just seems like to me, outside of this week's game, lately they've been media, and not football. Agreed. Could be wrong. This week they've disproven me. For me, I just want to see them. I want to actually see them do better and get better.
I want to see him in that playoff conversation, like we talked about at the beginning of the season, but that's tough to do. My do better is not football related. My do better is the UFC. Not because of Noche, because the event was great, the card was good, we had some title changes, we had some injuries before fights, things of that nature. But when they scan the crowd and they see who all the celebrities are and who's in the building and things like that.
Yeah.
this particular event, the camera panned to hip hop superstar and the performer of Super Bowl this year, Kendrick Lamar. Except it wasn't Kendrick Lamar.
I saw that. Who the hell was it?
Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Not
Yeah, UFC, do better.
like for him not to be at the Canelo fight and to be at UFC Noche instead, and you still got his name wrong.
Gee, doesn't that sound familiar? But no.
It's triggering. I'm triggered.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault. It's Max's.
All right, let's listen. We're not going to go backwards, but if you know, you know. We're going to wrap it up. Let's get into our favorite segment, Snack of the Week.
I think you're up first this week.
Yeah, I know, and I've been bouncing this one off, you know. But I'm going old school like you did last week. The Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Yeah. Where you
Listen,
going?
I haven't had one in like a year, surprisingly. Go me, you know, trying to shrink this big bag I got. Okay. But there's just something about a Dairy Queen Blizzard in the middle to end of summer, going into, you know, cooler weather, still warm, fall, autumn, whatever. That just hits the spot. I don't know. I was looking and I saw a Dairy Queen commercial earlier, and I'm like, bruh, a Blizzard is it. And now they even come in the little baby size. They come in like this big. It's like a mini. And I listen, my big back can handle that.
Nice. Little Blizzard snack. Those are delicious.
It's fire. S'mores is my favorite, for the record. Yes. Yes.
I just like Blizzards. I like all kinds. It just depends on the day.
That's fair.
My snack of the week goes to breakfast pizza.
Oh, yes.
See what I mean? Like,
yes. 2 weeks in a row, you got me, man.
I like snacks. It just took T mentioning breakfast pizza last week for me to be in, and I've had it 3 times since.
So, shout out T.
Some people you do like the gravy or the cheese sausage, whichever one is your base, and then some places do or sausage. I say do both.
You got to do both.
You know what makes the breakfast pizza though? Because they're missing 2 things with breakfast pizza. One, a little bit of Lowry's.
Let me hear.
A little Lowry's. Right on the breakfast pizza. And then
yep.
And I like to let it sit for a minute so it like cools off and then throw it in the air fryer. Cause I feel like it needs to be air fried a little bit. So you throw it in there for a few minutes, air fry it, hit it with some Lowry's, hit it with some hot sauce. You're good to go. Breakfast pizza.
And now, you know what? I suddenly find myself going to Casey's tomorrow morning to get breakfast pizza on my way to work because why the hell not? Damn. Again, 2 weeks in a row, you got me. And I love this for the both of us.
I'm serious about snack of the week. I'm bringing it.
Listen, this is why we literally save the best for last. Like the sports and the football and the banter, we're for it. But really, we're here for snack of the week. That's what we do on Pass the Rock. We really should have just named it Snack.
Right.
Snack.
Big bag chat. You look so happy, Frozen. It looks like this.
I hate this for the both of us. I need you to unfreeze. There yeah. I was frozen and you were frozen. Huh? Funny how that works. But I mean, we're done. That's the 3rd episode of Pass the Rock. E, what do you think?
I think we're on to something here.
I do too. You know, it's the realness for me. People not ready. And like and shout out to everybody on whether it's our personal Instagrams, the show Instagrams. Y'all been out here with the comments and the interactions. And I was like, in fact, CB for like 5 straight minutes today on like my last patrol. Just I sit here like I had the show on speaker. I'm like walking through, you know, the space, and all of a sudden it ding 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 ding. Instagram, see me the bully, see me like all like for 5 straight minutes. Like I had to shut my watch, like the vibration because it was driving me insane. Shout out, see me the bully. Shout out.
What should happen is like when I send them the like invitation to collaborate, Him and D, they'll just go in like the last 15 things I posted all at once, and my phone goes crazy. That's how they roll.
Yeah, although I was like, am I getting hacked? I was like, what's going on? But
Shout
I was for it. Listen, shout out to listen, shout out to the 3-man weave. Listen, that's how we do here. Go off. I mean, but like I said, we're done. This is another edition of Pass the Rock with EB and MackTruck. Make sure you're following us both Instagram, Facebook. I got X. I don't know if E Money does, but if you do, follow him there. And as far as our platforms, YouTube, Spotify, you got X too?
The 3-man weave does. I don't have my own, but yeah. I don't know what it is, but 3-man weave has one. I thought you looked confused at first. You were just frozen. And still frozen.
Why are we like this? But that's it, y'all. We're done with Pastor Rock this week. Stay tuned for episode number 4 of Pastor Rock. And the 3-man weave already has an episode out for the week, I believe.
First one, yeah,
MackTruck's getting theirs in here shortly.
Nice. Are you going right from this to that?
Yeah, I'm going to take a drink. I'm going to go say hey to B. And then come back and wrap it up for the night so I can get up at 5 something to go be an adult.
You need to get after it.
I hate this. Yeah. I don't get to be as cool as you yet. I'm working on it, though.
Few people are, man. It's all right.
See, this is why I mess with you heavily. Any final words before we wrap it?
44.
I cannot stand you. I just
was I frozen and then I come back like this? Is that how it happened?
That's what I was like, really, dude.
That's all I got.
All right, we out. We'll see y'all next week. Oh, man.